Here we are again, Christopher.
All right, we're back.
We are back in the saddle.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming.
On an exciting pre-Christmas day.
So, what I wanted to talk about right off the bat with you is that this episode comes out the day after the new Star Wars movie.
Ooh.
So you guys...
And we have like real good seats.
You and I have seen it. We know what it is. We're going to talk about... We're giving you all a week, and we're going to spoil the shit out of that movie because that's what we do.
Yeah.
I mean, if you don't want to listen to it, then, skip.
We're like Dr. Manhattan, where we live in the past, the present, and the future simultaneously.
Yeah, we do. That's the cool thing about this podcast is that we're omnipresent.
Yeah.
But
I'm really excited.
It's 7 days away from today. I posted a thing on our social media about it. I'm nuts for this. I watched another clip of it today. A guy that I was deployed with, John Erickson. Love you, bud. He sent me like a clip of that they've released apparently of the new movie, and it's just about like Kylo Ren going into this like cave area, and you can
the Cave of Wonders.
Maybe it could be the Cave of Wonders.
A lamp.
It could be. Like, it could be something like that.
Wouldn't that be amazing?
Jafar's there.
If they like set up the storyline, like he's got to go in this dark cave to like confront his self to become a true Sith, and he goes in there. It's like that tiger head.
I don't think that would be fun.
There's a flying carpet.
You would like that because you're like a Disney guy.
Yeah, if Will Smith popped out, it'd be great.
I still haven't seen that.
That's so good.
Really?
Yeah, it's really good.
Like for real?
For real.
All right, maybe I'll watch it. Is it on Disney Plus?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't think so.
I don't think so yet either, but I'll watch it when it comes out on Disney Plus.
Yeah, I've pretty much abandoned Disney Plus except for Mandalorian at this point.
Yeah, I basically have too. We watch it all the time because the boys, well, I shouldn't say the boys. I should say Graham watches Disney movies constantly. We were watching Brave tonight.
Oh, that's not one I've ever watched.
It's not that great.
I mean
I've
it's
seen okay.
Bits and pieces, but I've never watched it all the way through. And every time I have tried to watch it, there's something about it. Somebody's a bear.
Her mom.
Her mom's a bear.
Yeah, she turns her mom into a bear.
That's the only part I remember.
Yeah, it's not. It's like not very like uplifting.
Is she
whatsoever.
super brave?
I don't think so. Like I didn't feel like she was brave at all. I felt she was like very much a coward.
Yeah.
Throughout the whole thing.
That's big words.
Well,
I'm going to see Merida in about a month and a half. I'm going to
call her a coward.
I'm going to call her a coward.
Give her a sticker. Give her a Snarf Talk sticker and say, listen to episode 54 and we call you a coward.
Yeah. Up
top. Give her a high five.
She's going to be like, I'm in 19-year-old college.
Yeah. She's like, I'm getting paid $12.50. I don't care. But what was I don't even remember what I was getting at. Oh, the Star Wars thing. So This clip was of him going into this like cave. He's hearing voices, and it was multiple different people. So like Darth Vader's voice, his dad's voice, Palpatine's voice, which it was Palpatine. It is Palpatine, or the Emperor in this cave. And he says like, I've been the voice in your head this entire time. And it's just amazing.
I haven't seen that one, but
I'll send it to you because it's like nuts. It shows a bunch of different stuff that goes on in the movie, but that one clip of him like hearing all these voices and like looking around, that tells me, this is what it tells me. He's going to switch because he's going to like switch over to Rey's side and fight the dark side.
No doubt about that.
Because he realizes that he's been being used by someone, which is the Emperor.
He has a character arc.
Yes.
And it led him to kill his father. And he hasn't fully regretted that decision yet.
Yeah.
And he will. And that's what will bring him back to the light side.
Exactly. Because he's going to realize at that moment how much he's been used by somebody else for no purpose other than their personal gain.
Yeah.
Nothing for him.
Well, before that, he had felt that he was used by Luke.
Yes, that's true. And he's going to probably come to the realization that that was not true.
Well, was it? I think maybe it was. I think we'll see some resolution there.
Don't talk down on
I think we'll see Luke in this, and we'll see some resolution there.
I agree. And I also think Baby Yoda's involved.
No, I don't.
Yes. How can you bring in a Baby Yoda in Mandalorian?
It's too late. Right? That movie's been done in the can since before Mandalorian came out.
You don't think they planned this crap?
Not that closely.
I do. Well, then why do you bring in a Baby Yoda that is before any of these movies are set?
Do you think that Baby Yoda is actually Yoda? Like reincarnated?
No.
Why?
No, it's impossible.
Maybe that species does that. Maybe there's just two of them, and they just.
I think that's a ridiculous thing. Like, there's no way.
Okay.
No, it's.
What if there's a timey-wimey thing involved?
Well, don't start with the Doctor Who stuff.
Force time dimensional jumps.
Maybe. I guess I don't know. I shouldn't tell you you're wrong. I think it's ridiculous, but I think it's a separate Yoda species thing. And I think he's going to tie into this last movie. I think they did talk to each other. Jon Favreau and what's his name? J.J. Abrams did this. And they talked to each other about it and knew what they were going to do.
Here's a question I got is, so in The Last Jedi, Luke uses a known power called force projection.
Correct. Right? That's like basically what kills him.
Yeah, but I don't think it does. I don't think he's dead. But is that a dark side power? I thought it was.
Force projection. Maybe.
I don't know.
I'll have to look into that. I guess I didn't even think about that.
There's a really good book. I've seen some pictures from it online. I kind of want to get it. And it's like the Jedi or Force handbook that has all the powers. But in it is like notes from like Ahsoka or like notes from like Anakin Skywalker. Like it's like it's a textbook that they use in their school.
Yeah.
And it'll be like Anakin Skywalker on a note on something like, I could maybe use this in this situation. Or it'll be like Ahsoka, like, oh, just like Master Skywalker did in blah, 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 blah. It's kind of cool. And
What's
it has
it called?
like theory. I can't remember.
Oh.
I think it's like the Jedi Force handbook or something. I don't know.
That makes sense.
Cool.
That's awesome. Yeah, so that looks really good. It just gets me like so much more excited for the movie, even though I was already excited and I'm in the bag and they can take all my money. I don't care. Mm-hmm. They could all lay on a beach and talk to each other and I'm going to pay to watch it.
I'd pay more for that.
Yeah, I kind of would too.
I mean, they kind of did that in Rogue One and it was great.
Did you hear the story about how the guy who plays Finn, what's his name? Something Bodega?
Yeah, John Boyega.
Boyega. Yeah, not Bodega.
Bodega, dude.
Yeah, Bodega. John Bodega. Did you hear about how he lost his script and they put it online?
No.
You didn't? He had a script to the movie, obviously, the entire script, the first script that he got. He left it under his bed in like a hotel, or was it a hotel or like a hostel overseas? Like he left it under a bed of some sort that people had access to, and they stole it.
Yeah.
And put it online.
And magically he had a Swiss bank account that got $10 million deposited into it.
Yeah, maybe. But it was put online and they had to take it down. Like Disney went in and found it and took it all down.
How does that even work?
I don't know, but it was online for long enough to where Reddit got a hold of it and was like throwing up copies all over the place.
So it's all over. So you could read it right now if you wanted to.
You could look it up and find it, yeah.
Ooh, I don't want to do that.
I have not done it. When I heard about it, I was like,
Did you hear the big controversy with Daisy Ridley?
No.
She was asked by a reporter if she felt she dealt with fame differently from her co-stars because of her white privilege.
Yes. Okay, I heard something about it. I didn't read into it.
She was just like thrown off by the question. She's like, no.
Yeah.
And then the internet blew up.
Right. And didn't she respond with like John Boyega grew up the exact same way that I did, or has the exact same privilege that I do? Something like that. That's what I saw in the headline.
Yeah, something along those lines.
Why would they do that? Like, why do people do that?
Well, Jerry, people are dumb.
Yeah. People want the ridiculous story. They want some sort of dramatic...
The gotcha.
Yeah. They want a gotcha moment. And they think that telling her she has white privilege would be that moment, when she's obviously not the only white actor. There are people of color and every race, basically... There are aliens in Star Wars.
I think it's interesting, though, because I think it's funny. I'm guessing they caught off guard a British actress there.
Yeah.
And she's like, what are they doing in America now? What now?
Yeah, that's what it was. She found out real quick.
Oh, man.
That's what people are doing in America.
It's funny. Speaking of this, if you're listening to this, it was a couple weeks ago, but we had the school Christmas program.
Oh, yeah.
And they always have a amazing auction.
Yes.
My favorite auctioneer in the world.
Yeah.
And he had just the best joke in the world at the beginning of that auction.
The snowflake thing?
They were auctioning off a bunch of wooden snowflakes with like toys and stuff attached to them.
Gift cards and different
things.
Like,
I can't say I've ever auctioned off a snowflake before. I've met a bunch of them.
Yeah. He's like, I do know a bunch of them, but I've never auctioned them off before. I was cracking up. Me and Amy were
dying.
losing it.
Oh my God.
It was pretty good. I took a bunch of Snapchats of that because I was like,
what did you buy?
Nothing. What did you buy?
Oh, you cheap bastard who doesn't support our children or our schools.
Okay, well, first off, who bought the snowflake? Was it you personally?
Yes.
Was it iTrees or was it Hartford Farms?
It was me personally.
Be serious.
I'm serious. I had cash in my wallet.
Well, you're richer than I am. That's what it is. How does your white privilege feel, Chris?
Good, I guess.
What did you get for that? Movie tickets.
It's got like $35 gift card to the movie theater. It's got an AMC bucket, but we never go to AMC movie theaters.
Where is an AMC movie theater?
Well, Morris.
That's an AMC?
Yeah, Morris.
I thought it was GKC.
Not anymore.
Oh.
It hasn't been JKC since like we were in high school.
But, okay.
Then it was Carmike, and now it's AMC.
Oh, all right.
There's AMC in Naperville and New Lenox.
Nobody goes to those.
Plainfield.
Well, you would go to New Lenox.
We go to the Plainfield one all the time.
You do?
It's actually Naperville, but it's not in Naperville. It's like right north of downtown Plainfield.
Oh. What's the New Lenox one is the one with the IMAX, right?
Yeah, but so does the Naperville one, Plainfield one.
Oh. I didn't know that. Never been to any of those.
It's a better one. It's good.
Which
the New
one?
Lenox one's kind of meh.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
I thought like all IMAX was like the sheet.
Yeah, it's all good.
They just don't keep the...
It's just an older, more rundown movie theater, I feel like.
Oh. Well, it's Plainfield. You know, Plainfield's...
No, that's the good one.
No, I know. That's what I'm saying. Like, Plainfield's the uppity people.
Especially,
you know?
yeah, for sure.
Naperville, Plainfield. Yeah.
So, Jerry, I don't know if you know this or not, but we got a little thing called patreon.com/Snarf Comics.
What's that?
That is a website that you can go to that you can subscribe to support our show and get a bunch of sweet, awesome content.
You can.
Yeah, like bonus podcasts.
Like Snarfioki?
Yeah.
Like Fourth Reich script pages?
Absolutely.
Because it just so happens I put up page 2 and page 3.
And to get those, you have to go there and subscribe. And by doing that, you get a bunch of great stuff that's worth way more than you're paying, but you're also supporting the show at the same time.
Correct.
So head on over to Snarf Comics. Wait, patreon.com/Snarf Comics.
That would be great if you could. It is a very good thing for you guys to support us because we can do so much more with the podcast, with our comic book, with...
And we do have a bunch of people supporting us now, and we got a bunch of amazing stuff planned.
We have 8 patrons.
Yeah.
As of right now.
Ad time over.
Wait, let me see. Did we get any new?
Yeah, we got 9 now, I think.
Nope. No, we have 8.
Okay. Jerry, I want to talk about a little thing that stretches my springs.
Oh, boy, what is it?
This is a doozy, all right?
Okay.
So, what I want to talk about is the worst subset of humanity.
Jeez.
The most vile, villainous people that you can ever
this is
be
bad.
associated with. This is
bad.
This is the worst of the worst right here.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want to find out if you're one of these people, I just want you to get up off of your couch.
Get up off of that floor.
Walk to every bathroom in your house and look next to the toilet and see if there's a plunger there.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And if there isn't, you're one of these vile people.
Really?
That I'm speaking of. And it stretches my springs.
But why? Like if you don't have a plunger next to
If you don't have a plunger in your bathroom.
I mean, I have a plunger in my bathroom, but it's not next to the toilet.
It doesn't have to be next to your toilet. It just has to be in your bathroom.
Because a lot of people don't put them visibly.
Fine. But you have to have a plunger in a bathroom.
I agree.
There's people out there, Jerry, that don't keep plungers in their bathrooms.
Why?
Because they're terrible people.
But, okay, can I just ask a question real quick?
Why?
Have you had a situation where you needed a plunger in someone else's bathroom and it wasn't available?
Absolutely. You've never been in that situation?
No.
I guarantee you the majority of people listening to this podcast have been in that situation.
What kind of demon did you have come out of you?
Sometimes stuff clogs, man.
So you've clogged multiple people's toilets and needed a plunger.
That's happened many times in my life, yeah.
Wow. That's some serious...
What do you take, like tiny little rabbit poops?
Some serious shit.
Sometimes you plug a toilet, and when you're at somebody else's house and they don't have a plunger in their bathroom, they're not good people. They don't care about you. They're sociopaths, really, is what they are.
I don't know if I can get behind this, Chris. I agree. No, I agree with you that you need a plunger in your bathroom all the time. I just don't think...
If you want to keep it under your sink or something, that's fine too.
I mean, I'm a small man, so I don't think I plug toilets as often as you.
It depends on the quality of the toilet.
It very much does.
Because I have some Kohlers in my house. They never plug. You can't plug those things.
Well, here's the deal. A lot of low quality toilets have the porcelain inside the bowl and just in the neck a little bit, but the rest of the neck, so it's like a... for the YouTube watchers, I'll give you like some hand gestures. It's like a gooseneck, so it goes like this.
Yeah.
And down, and then it comes back up, and like it literally makes like 7 S's before it goes down a tube. It's not 7, but it's close. And those aren't porcelain lined. They'll be like rough.
Yeah, that's a problem.
That's what clogs you.
Yeah.
That's what clogs you up.
Cheap toilets and no plungers. That's what stretches my springs, Jerry.
Yeah, the high dollar toilets, porcelain lined all the way through that.
That's right.
Neck system.
Kohler.
I don't even know what mine are.
Make a good toilet at Kohler.
They do. They make a lot of good things. So we had I had a bit of a disservice.
Okay.
To our fans, to myself, to anyone that listens to the podcast, basically. We did the holiday.
Is this a Snarf Corrections?
It kind of is. It's a correction on myself.
Okay.
Not necessarily you. I mean, you have your own opinions on things. Me personally, we did the holiday episode a few weeks ago, and I did not put a movie on there that I should have. A person brought it up to me and said that this is absolutely a holiday movie that should be on any of your lists. As soon as it was told to me, I realized I made a mistake.
What's that?
It is a movie called Grumpy Old Men. I love that movie.
It's a great movie. I don't know that I'd put it on my list, though. Is that even a Christmas movie?
Yes, absolutely. It's around Christmas. They're decorating for Christmas. It's in the wintertime.
Guess I don't remember that.
They put frozen fish in each other's trucks. I watched The Grumpy Old Men when I was a kid.
Oh, yeah.
Constantly.
I remember
thought it was
watching
one of the funniest movies.
Grumpier Old Men a lot more.
Yes, I did too. But they're both Christmas movies. They're all set in the wintertime because they ice fish like crazy.
Is Walter Matthau still alive?
I don't believe so.
And who was the other guy? Jack Lemmon?
Jack Lemmon, yes. Jack Lemmon died too.
Yeah, he's definitely not alive.
Walter Matthau died before Jack Lemmon. And then the grandpa, Jack Lemmon's dad, was alive longer, but he was
he died in 2000, man.
Who did?
Walter Matthau.
Wow.
Jack Lemmon.
And then but the guy who was Jack Lemmon's dad, the guy who ate bacon. I eat bacon for lunch.
That guy was great.
I eat bacon for breakfast. I eat bacon for lunch. And I usually drink my dinner. He was Mick in Rocky. He was like the coach.
Yeah, that's right.
Where he said, "Hit him in the jugular." The jugular.
Yeah, his name isn't Mickey.
Mickey. Yeah, well they called it. He said, "Hey Mick."
Okay.
It's brisk, baby. That's what he used to tell Mick.
It's brisk, baby.
But I should have put it on my personal top 10 holiday films because I loved it so much. I completely...
You know who that was? Burgess Meredith.
Burgess Meredith, yes.
Yeah.
I did know that. But I should have put it on my top 10. I screwed up. It's a phenomenal movie.
I don't
loved it.
think you need to kill yourself over it.
I feel like it's a disservice and I need to bring it up.
He died in 1996, Burgess Meredith.
96?
Yep.
So when did Jack Lemmon die?
2001.
Oh, so he outlived his dad. That's
Yeah.
good. That's good. That's all I got for my disservices.
Okay, that's
my
fine.
corrections.
It's not too bad. I wouldn't put it in my top 10. So
that's fine. I said
and,
you
and
have
not,
your own
and
opinions.
not because I don't love grumpy old men. I do.
I think it should have been in my top 10.
I do.
If I'm gonna say something,
But I just don't think of it as a Christmas movie. I'm not saying it isn't. I'm just saying to me, I don't think of it as a Christmas movie.
Well, you're an idiot.
So. I have had other people tell me that they agree that A Muppet Christmas Carol is the greatest Christmas movie of all time. Amazingly enough.
Really?
And I told them that I was
Who are
pretty
those people?
Jason Serino. He didn't tell me, but he put it on Facebook that it was the best movie of all time. And I agree with him.
It's the best movie of all time.
Christmas movie.
Oh, okay.
Christmas movie.
I don't agree.
Well, agree to disagree.
I've never been a huge Muppet fan, and I feel like the Jason Segel remake.
I wasn't
was
a big
not
into that. Yeah.
good.
No, I mean,
I
don't think it was
Muppets.
bad, but I didn't think it was bad. What about like the Muppets Take Manhattan?
Yeah, that's good.
That was a pretty good movie.
That's pretty good. I do like that one a lot. Animal's always been one of my favorites just because he's ridiculous.
What about Beaker?
Beaker for sure. There was a guy that I used to work with. We all called Beaker. He doesn't know that.
Me.
Yeah,
I can't
because he
do
was
it.
like me.
You know, Burgess Meredith of Grumpy Old Men. You realize that's the Penguin, right? From Batman?
From the original
Okay.
Batman. Yeah, absolutely. Or the 69 Batman with Adam West.
66.
66, that's right. Adam West and what's the guy who played Robin?
Burt Ward,
Yes. Burt
who now
Ward.
makes dog food.
He does?
Yeah, he's a dog food company.
Why wouldn't you do that?
He's
You know?
really into dogs, like sustainable dog food.
Okay. So like meat and corn?
No, just like meat.
Just meat.
He's like against grains
Well,
for dogs.
Turns out most veterinarians would tell you that dogs eat grains and other vegetation.
They do, actually.
And it's absolutely ridiculous to say that they don't.
Yeah,
Because they are omnivores.
they are omnivores. That's true. They
Yeah.
eat a lot of vegetables.
I found that out from
A lot of tubers.
from my soon-to-be sister-in-law. Thinks it's absolutely ridiculous that people would say they don't eat grains because they do.
Yeah.
Like vegetables are very good for dogs.
Yeah, especially sweet potatoes.
But don't give them grapes. Grapes are bad for dogs. That will kill them.
Will it kill them?
If you give them too many, it gives them renal failure. So it'll like attack their kidneys.
Huh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, don't give them grapes. It's really bad. Because Gary was like feeding grapes to Butch, their dog. And she found out about it and she's like, absolutely do not do that again. Like that's bad for your dog. So now he's on like grape patrol. Oh. He really is. He literally like goes around telling people like, don't feed your dogs grapes. It's the worst thing in the world. And he used to have those grapevines by the shop, tore them all out so that Butch wouldn't
Wow.
eat the grapes.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, it's fun. Lot of trailers came out this week.
Are we on to the news?
We're
The trailer news?
Yeah, we're definitely on the trailer news.
I don't know about a lot. I know about one.
Two.
Okay.
Well, yeah, two. Two solid trailers came out that I have to talk about.
Okay.
The first one being Wonder Woman 1984.
Oh, I haven't seen that trailer yet.
You haven't?
No. Should we pause it so I can watch it?
Yes, we can do that, and I will edit.
Oh, I just saw that.
Yeah, it's really good. So, can I just give you my opinion of it real quick?
Yes, for
I
sure.
guess.
Do that.
All right, 1984, I get it. Like, malls are a big
The
thing.
year of my birth, Jerry.
It is. It is the year of your birth.
This movie might be about me.
Turns out, so YouTube viewers chime in, but did you know Chris is only 3 years older than me? Like, that's unbelievable. Anyway, so
hilarious.
It shows you, this trailer shows you what it's like to have Wonder Woman in a mall.
Yeah.
Fight people in a mall.
A lot of mall
stuff. But I just feel like there's like an enormous spoiler in this trailer to throw out good old, and I'm going to tell you, but it's the trailer, so anybody can watch it, to throw out Steve Trevor right off the bat in the trailer.
I think that was established, though, way before this trailer.
How? It wasn't in the last movie.
They said he was going to be one of the main characters, like a long time ago.
For this movie, they did?
Yeah.
Well, I don't think it's really him.
Oh, that's interesting. It could be.
I think it's a clone, like some sort of a clone of him by the bad guy that you see in the trailer. Because you see him like standing in that thing spinning around with his arms up, and there's like a blue light spinning around him. I think he clones himself as Steve Trevor to be close to Wonder Woman to make her do what he wants her to do to like enact his own stuff.
Ooh, interesting.
That's what I think.
I
don't think it's really Steve Trevor.
We don't see any Cheetah.
She's in it though.
Is that her name, Cheetah? Or
yeah.
Cheetah.
Cheetah. No, that was from Thundercats.
I don't know.
Yeah, Cheetah is a bad person, and I read a thing about that where they were saying that Wonder Woman goes like on an archaeological dig during this movie, and they find this thing
because, of course,
yeah, right. Of course she does. Well, she's like a historian.
Oh, that's true. She's like an archaeologist, right?
Yeah,
or like a paleontologist.
I think
anthropologist,
she's a historian or something.
There's a better word for it than historian.
But that's a actual profession.
No.
Yes, it is. There's like sports historians.
A historian's like somebody that works in a library.
She does work in a library.
Maybe the Library of Man.
Or maybe a Library of Congress. That's a thing. Anyway, I think it's all fake. Don't believe trailers. That's what I've always said. I haven't always said that. I've said that for like the last 2 episodes. Don't believe trailers. They're misleading. They do it on purpose to build a certain thing. And then once you get in the movie, they're like, well, bam, something different. And you're like, whoa, M. Night Shyamalan. No, that's not who made this movie.
M. Night Shyamalan ding dong.
Yeah, that's not who made the movie at all.
Yeah.
It's the other lady. What's her name?
I don't know. I don't know her name, but I thought the trailer looked amazing.
It does look very good, though. There's a lot of
super
crazy
cool,
stuff.
And the fight action looks amazing. I think it sounds super fun. The soundtrack sounds amazing, and I think it looks better than the first one, which I thought was a very mediocre movie.
I would say the
first half was really good, and
the first 2/3,
maybe, yeah.
The last third, or like, because there's like a 3-story, or what's it called?
3-act structure.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say.
Like every story in the history of mankind.
A 3-act structure. That's why I was saying like 2/3 of that story is good until the last third where it gets really dark and ridiculous. The very first Wonder Woman was the best DC movie that I had seen for a time.
Wow.
What comes better than that?
I think maybe
DC movie. Think DC movie.
You're not counting the Batman movies, the Nolan movies?
No, that's a whole different tier, man.
What was the first one? Man of Steel?
Yeah, I guess so.
That was pretty good.
Yeah, I think Wonder Woman was better.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like she's running across like no man's land.
That was cool.
Just like, just doing this with her arms, you know?
Yeah. No, I'll give it to you, man. I'm excited.
It's pretty good. But this one looks really good. She looks
I like the whole, like, we're doing it period time thing. They don't do enough in the 80s.
I would agree.
Stranger Things.
She looks very confident in her ability in this movie.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
she has a different suit. She has this different suit with wings on the back. It's like a gold suit with a helmet. I don't know where that comes from. I don't know why she has that. I think she has to go back and protect her people.
Oh.
Like in the one place.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Whatever that's called. I can't remember.
Well, I'm excited. I don't know when that comes out, but I'm seeing it.
It's next year sometime.
I don't know if I'll see it in theaters, but
June 5th,
June 5th.
2020.
Okay.
I believe.
I'm in.
The next trailer I want to talk about.
Yeah, there's another one that was way more interesting to me.
Ghostbusters Afterlife.
Yes. That is true. That is what it's called.
So this looks, again, don't believe trailers. I'm just telling you. But it looks to be a little more serious.
Yeah.
Like a serious take on Ghostbusters and like a kid adventure movie.
I think it looks more serious and more supernatural and more spooky, but in like an accessible way.
But a kid adventure movie.
But are you forgetting that the original Ghostbusters was also like pretty like supernaturally, obviously it was a supernatural, but it was pretty, like it was pretty scary, like for kids.
Yeah, absolutely it was. I did go back and watch it.
Like
and
both of them, the first and the second one, they weren't like just goofy comedies.
I completely agree. But I think they're taking more of a point of like thriller.
Yeah, this looks like more of a thriller. It's interesting the direction they're going. I'm not going to jump and start hating on it, which I know there will be. I haven't heard a lot of people do that. I think a lot of people have thought, if they're like me, they've thought, you know what? Cool. I'm glad they're like taking this in a different direction.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I really like, obviously, Paul Rudd is the best.
I was just going to say, the kid from Stranger Things.
Yeah, Finn Wolfhard. I mean, that's his name, Jerry.
That's his name? Yeah. I didn't know that. Holy crap.
Yeah, it's like Finn Wolfhard or something like that.
Are you serious?
Yeah, he wolfs hard, man.
Holy cow, I wish I could wolf hard. But Paul Rudd, anything you put Paul Rudd in, take my money. I love Paul Rudd. I love everything he does. I don't care what the trailer looked like. I'm going to watch something with Paul Rudd in it. Luckily, this trailer looked really good to me. I liked how they find the old why can't I think of it?
I'm sorry, we got to pause.
The old Ecto-1.
Yeah.
And like he pulls the sheet off in a old barn. It says Ecto-1. He starts driving it around randomly. Apparently it starts right away and you have all the gas in the world.
That's pretty insane. Seeing as how the shelf life of gasoline is about 6 months.
Yes.
And absolutely. That's about it.
And that's it. Yeah.
And the shelf life of an unmaintained battery is about 6 months as well.
6 months, yeah.
So there's no way that thing would start.
I agree. And I think that's a flaw.
But it could be run by protons.
But wait, to be fair. Well, dude's not here. I have to do it. This is a trailer, so he could be working on it in the meantime. I don't know. But they do drive it around all crazy. But it looks like a kid adventure movie where they start doing things. And we know for a fact that a lot of the original cast comes back. So,
although we don't see any.
We don't see any in the trailer.
Is that Bill Murray narrating though?
I don't remember.
I can't remember either.
But I know Bill Murray comes back.
Yeah.
I know Dan Aykroyd comes back.
And if they don't bring Harold Ramis back as a ghost
from the dead,
what are they doing? Like, but as a CGI ghost?
But it's all based around Peter Venkman. So it's his grandkid.
How do you know that?
It says it in the trailer. Like she pulls open, she starts talking about her grandpa. Like my grandpa.
I assumed it was Harold. I thought it was Egon's.
Or no, I thought the shirt said Venkman.
Oh, I don't know.
When she pulled open the suits, it said Venkman on there.
Huh.
I thought. I could be wrong. Maybe it is Egon.
Well, anyway.
It would make sense because Harold Ramis is dead and like you would do it after your dead grandpa. But when she pulled the Ghostbuster suit open, I thought it said Venkman right there.
Well, anyway, I think it looks amazing. Or I shouldn't say amazing. It looks interesting.
Very intriguing.
And I'm glad they're taking it into a different direction. And I'm excited to see how it goes. It doesn't look like it's going to be the same type of comedy that the first two were, which is fine.
I mean...
And honestly...
Do you think Zool is apparent again? I think it is.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Because you see the legs.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
But it's totally fine. First of all, I think it's going to be a lot funnier than they make it look in the trailer.
I agree.
There's
Paul Rudd can't not be funny.
I think they're trying to. Honestly, I think they were trying to go for that like Stranger Things vibe.
I completely agree
In the trailer, but I don't think
that.
the movie is probably very much like that.
I hope it is.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I love Stranger Things, and I think David Harbour does a really good job of being like somewhat comedy relief in Stranger Things, and I think they could have Paul Rudd as that character.
Well, there's lots of comedy in Stranger Things.
Yeah, and I think they could have Paul Rudd as that character though.
Yeah.
In this movie and make certain things like awkward and funny, while also being like dark and demonized.
Yeah. I don't know. I think there's a lot they could do with it. And sometimes I forget when I think about Ghostbusters, I'm like, oh, it's not that old.
No, it is.
A movie. It's really old of a movie. And I forget that I'm old. So there's like a lot of people, a lot of kids that have no idea. So they would look at it fresh and be like, that was 1,000,000 years ago.
What year did that come out? Like the original
in the 80s,
Ghostbusters,
right?
Yeah, it was like 82, maybe 1984 Ghostbusters.
It could be. I don't know.
I don't know either. But it is more, it's like way more scarier than I thought. So I remember going back and watching it. I think Grady was little, but I started watching it and I was like, Grady, you're going to love this movie. And we started watching it.
It did come out in 1984.
Yeah.
June 7th.
I knew that.
June 7th, 1984.
Of course it did.
1989 for the second one. So there was quite a gap.
5-year gap.
More than that. No, 5 years. You're right.
No, 4 plus 5. Just simple math. You're an idiot.
Came out right after Scrooged.
Man, he had a lot of movies come out in the 80s. Stripes.
Well, Caddyshack. That was in the 70s, right?
Was it?
Yeah, I think so.
No.
I think so.
I thought it was like 80, 81.
So let's
either
dance?
way. What?
So let's dance? Never mind. 1980 Caddyshack.
That's what I thought. I thought it was like 80, 81.
Anyway, no, I think it looks really cool. I'm excited.
Dude had a lot of movies come out. Bill Murray had a lot of movies come out in the 80s.
Yeah. Yeah, he was a
What was Groundhog Day?
That's in the 90s. Gotta be.
93. 92.
When did Groundhog Day come out?
92, I guess. Right now.
When was Andy McDowell popular? 1993.
I told you.
Yeah.
I said,
oh man, 93. That's probably one of the best movies ever made. Groundhog Day.
I don't agree with you. It's very good. It's okay.
Anyway,
next news.
I can't wait for the Ghostbusters movie. I'm super excited for it, and I'm glad that they're striking off in a new direction.
I know it's 2020. I don't know when it actually comes out.
I think it's in the summer.
Okay.
It's gonna make all the money.
I think it'll be
$1 billion movie.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Absolutely. Yep.
I mean, is a $1 billion movie out of reach for anything anymore?
Well, anything that's genre and franchise, no.
That's what I mean. Like, I think
it's definitely out of reach for movies that aren't genre movies or aren't franchise movies.
I mean, Joker came out of
genre
nowhere.
Franchise.
Yeah, but it was so independent and
doesn't
different.
Matter. That's the thing. So? It doesn't matter. That's the formula.
Gosh, I feel like it did matter for that one. It was rated R.
Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy that made so much money. And I know Wonder Woman will make $1 billion. So
yeah, Wonder Woman will. But Ghostbusters hasn't been apparent for a long time, so
doesn't matter.
I don't know.
How much money do you think the last Ghostbusters movie made? The one that was a farce, which I actually didn't think it was that bad of a movie.
I've never seen it. I'm gonna say $280 million.
Total? No,
yeah.
It made way more than that.
You think so?
2016 Ghostbusters.
I don't think it did that well.
Boggs.
$500 million?
I'd give it $500 million. $229 million total worldwide.
Oh, so my 280 was
right there.
An overshot.
Yeah, net production budget of 144. They made their money back.
They made money back, but
not much.
No,
not by the time you figure in marketing and
Yeah.
Stuff like that. The other thing about box office you got to understand is that they make very little of the worldwide sales. A lot of that stays overseas. And then also like half of that goes to like the theaters.
Right.
They like split their ticket.
Yeah,
stuff.
pretty serious percentage.
You got to make like $1 billion to make any money on a $250,000 budget movie.
$250 million movie.
Yes.
Yeah. Not thousand.
Then you make
a $250,000 movie. You could make a killing making $280 million.
Yeah, wasn't Solo like a $250 million movie because they made it twice?
Yes.
But it made like $500 million, but it still lost a ton
of money. And it was
lost.
Yeah. It's considered like the biggest loss that Disney made.
But guess what? They made a ton of money on...
What does it matter? Those people...
They don't count, when they figure that, they don't count promotional. So like McDonald's cups.
Right.
And they don't count toys. And they don't count licensing.
Exactly.
T-shirts. They make everything on licensing.
And what does it matter if one movie doesn't do as well for Disney?
Yeah.
Or
you don't have to hit a home run every time.
Like every other movie you've ever made has literally made $1 billion.
Yeah.
And you've made it for $180 to $200 million. And then you made $800 million on top of that.
Yeah.
So sure, your marketing costs might be like another $100 million. Oh, so you're down to $700 million you've just made. And then again, like you said, you didn't take into promotional, like marketing, like all of this stuff that you can make money off of.
It made $392 million.
What did?
Solo.
Yeah, that's not very good for a Disney movie. Isn't that crazy? Here's another thing. This is like off the wall, but I was thinking about it earlier this week, and I wanted to bring it up. This is a sports topic, real quick.
I like it.
I know we're jumping all over the place, but that's what this episode's going to be. Because we're talking about money, and there have been 2 signings this week in baseball where people have been signed for $350 and $324 million. One was for 7 years and one was for 9 years.
It's not all guaranteed, though.
I understand that. But when we're talking about signing one person to pitch a ball, to throw a ball, what is it? How far is the mound away? 65 feet?
I don't know.
I think it's 65 feet,
90?
68 feet. 90 feet to first base.
Okay.
It's closer than that. But
what's
either
the
way,
hypotenuse?
I've been wondering that for years.
Is that an equilibrium?
Stop it. They're throwing a ball as fast as they can, as best as they can, as accurate as they can. I know they're better than everyone at it doing their job. But we're talking almost $500 million. No, I think one guy got $500 million. We're close to $500 million for someone to play less than 10 years for a certain team, and they're going to give him that money.
Like
and
one
I
day
understand.
a week.
Exactly. So they broke it down on 670 The Score. That's a Chicago AM radio station that I listen to. And they were talking about Garrett Cole. He got signed to the New York Yankees for $324 million for 9 years. He played for the Astros. He's a very good pitcher. But
he's got to really do.
They were saying that if you took last year's stats, he's going to get paid like it was like $11,000 per start. No, it was more than that. It was like $1,100 per strike, like $1,500 per ball. Like they broke it down into that type of thing and saying like how much money he would make throughout his next 9 years. And it's just unbelievable to me that people are getting paid this to play a game. And I want people to play this game. I want to have the best players available to each team. But when we talk about Amazon spending $500 million to get the rights to Lord of the Rings and to produce a show that we all want to watch, like I thought that was astronomical. Now we're talking about one single person getting paid that amount of money.
Who could be on a losing team.
Yeah, to not do anything next year. He could blow out his shoulder in the very first game or in preseason.
Yeah.
And never play a single game next year, but he's going to get paid that amount of money for the next 9 years. He could be junk
Yeah, and that's crazy too. You think about it because people like freak out if a movie costs like $200 million to make. But there's like thousands of people working on that movie for like 3 years.
Right.
Thousands.
And we're talking about one.
Maybe tens of thousands of people.
I don't know if that's that many, you think?
There's a lot of people, but you're right. Not tens of thousands.
No.
But there's definitely thousands.
Yes, I completely agree with you with that.
Like you watch the end of a movie now, if you stay to the end credits, you'll see a whole list of babies that were born during the production of a movie. And there's like 50 babies.
And we're talking about one person getting paid this amount of money to play a game.
Yeah.
I don't know if... I don't think sports are going in the right direction with that kind of money.
Sometimes I think about the fact that like how much money there is, like how much money, and like how little money like everybody that you know makes comparatively when you consider the fact that billions of dollars are just being thrown away on stupid shit all the time.
So it says, yeah. Former Pirates pitcher Garrett Cole has signed a record 9-year, $324 million contract with New York Yankees. He's going to make an average roughly of $35 million per year for the next 9 seasons. Like, I just think that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
For a guy who starts once every 5 days.
Yeah. But whatever, man.
I don't know.
Obviously, they're making their money back, or they wouldn't do it.
I get it. And again, like I want to have really good talent in Major League Baseball and basketball and football, whatever we watch. Like I want to have that talent there. And I understand with inflation and the way the world's going, like for the United States, anyways.
But you can put in a salary cap. Other sports do it.
Exactly, and baseball has not done that.
And I think it's a problem because
there's a luxury tax for each team. That's it.
I think there should be a salary. What has a salary cap, right? Does basketball? No. Football does, right?
Football, yeah.
I like the idea of a salary cap because what it does is take small market teams and make them more able to compete. Although that hasn't really happened in football very well.
No.
So obviously it doesn't work great. But anyway, you got more news?
Yeah, I got a bunch more. That was a tangent I went on just because I started talking about money and I wanted to bring that up.
Money, 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 money.
So think about that the next time you think about like how much money you make, you know, and then just think about these people you watch on TV playing a game that you thought was a joke in school.
Yeah.
And these guys are doing it better than you, like 10 times better than you, and making 97 times more money than you are.
Well, you know what?
That's ridiculous for a game. Anyway, and I love the game.
Yeah. Jerry's sole pro redistribution of wealth.
Love the game.
That he just wants it all to be taken away and spread amongst the people.
Right. I mean, I don't think baseball players should be paid $350 million for 9 years. I don't.
It's the free market, man.
I get it.
He's obviously worth it or he wouldn't get paid it.
No. I mean,
nobody's forcing somebody to pay him that.
I understand that.
The market is dictating that he be paid that.
And that's only because each baseball team has so much money available to them.
Why do they have so much money?
Because of how much they charge for a freaking hot dog.
But they still sell out.
Beer or
but there's a demand for that stuff there. And people are paying it willingly, right?
The White Sox don't sell out and they still have all that money.
The White Sox are terrible.
They're not, though. They're not. Well, they're coming up this year.
Then they should win.
Well, I mean, if they had, they will win.
Okay.
Coming up pretty soon.
Then it's not an issue.
I mean, the Cubs are talking about getting rid of Chris Bryant and Anthony Rizzo. That's stupid.
Yeah, that is dumb.
Anyway, next news. We're not a sports podcast.
Nope.
I could talk about that for a while, but we're not a sports podcast. Next, series finale, Silicon Valley.
Oh, yeah. I totally forgot about that. I did watch the series finale of Silicon Valley.
It happened last Sunday.
It did. A show that I've been watching for
6 years.
Yeah. And absolutely love.
What's your take?
I thought it was absolutely terrible. I hated it. I hated every second of it. It drives me crazy. It ruined the entire show. And if that's really the end of that show, shame for shame.
For shame.
For shame. Shame.
So I didn't think
Shame.
I didn't think it was.
Shame.
I didn't think it was a terrible take to make it somewhat in the future. Like, I kind of liked seeing them in the future.
I don't care about that. It was just, first of all, it wasn't funny.
Yeah.
It was super out of character for the show in general. It made no sense. The characters weren't even on brand for what the characters are.
Yeah.
And guess what? It's not cool or edgy or hip to take everything and end it on a shitty note. It's
exactly.
Not. Guess what? It's not. It just fucking ruins it for everybody that put 6 years into watching something.
So here's a note that I put down is that, like, I loved the show as a whole. Like, I loved that show as a whole, like the whole show.
But it only works.
It always felt like it was trying to reach a certain peak and never got there. Like, it never peaked and never got to where it needed to be. It was always trying to be somewhere, and then it would drop.
Yeah.
And then it was like, oh, I'm going to get there. And then it would drop.
But it always ended every season on a high note.
Somewhat.
Pretty much.
Yeah, somewhat. And then this season, it just was like climbing somewhere and never got there. It just ended flat. It was completely flat. Everyone loses, and it didn't seem right to me.
Right.
The only thing that seemed right to me was that Guilfoyle and Dinesh ended up directly next to each other and still hating each other, but yet loving each other. You know what I mean? Like,
that's fine. And there was
that was the
things
only
like that,
thing.
Whatever. But it just was really, really, really disappointing.
Yeah.
And
it felt rushed. Like, it felt like a rushed ending.
and off brand. That's what put me off on it.
Yeah.
Just completely off brand because, like you said, that show is all about failure, right? That's the joke of it. They're always failing, but
right.
In the end, they're always kind of having these successes that end it. And to
like freak things happen to where they have success, and they're like, oh, well, we can build off that. And then this season, it just was like, nope, you all are terrible.
Yeah.
Like, why did I watch 6 seasons of this? For everything to fail. I don't get it. Spoilers, by the way.
Oh yeah, lots of spoilers here. It sours me on the whole experience, to be honest.
Me too.
It was very, very disappointing.
I thought there was going to be some major breakthrough.
I was so excited for it.
Yep, I was too.
And even the style in which they made it was
weird,
completely out of character for the show. I get that they were trying to do a documentary style thing and make it like a post log. And even if you did, okay.
I didn't hate that part of it. I didn't hate that it was a post log. I hated the fact that they were all so miserable and didn't get anywhere. You know what I mean? Like what's his name? Thomas Middleditch.
Yeah.
He's literally working in a Gavin Belson university. I don't think that's funny.
It would be fun. No, it would be fine. Okay, if they made that show the way it did, but the last 15 minutes of the show were 10 years later, them figuring out how to fix it.
Yeah, I agree.
That would have been fine. Like, it didn't have to end on a down note. And, and then I started looking at reviews and everybody's like talking about how like interesting and cool it was that they did that. And I'm like, what?
Really?
What is
I didn't look at anything
wrong with you people? No, I thought it was terrible. It was really disappointing.
Yeah, I was not happy with it, but the series as a whole, I would still tell people to watch it. I would absolutely say watch the first 5 seasons at least, which would then lead you to watching the 6th, but it's good. The first season blows all of them out of the water, I think. Yeah. The very first season, I think, is the very best one.
It's the best when TJ Miller's in it.
Correct.
The first 3 seasons
but
or so.
He ruined his own career. So did you know about him?
No.
Like what he did? So first off, he was very hard to work with apparently on set.
I've heard that.
With Silicon Valley. He was showing up very drunk and high and not doing the things he needed to do. And he tried to save himself saying he was going to the Comedy Store in LA and he was going on the road and doing his stand-up comedy routine all the time, working constantly, sleeping 3 hours, and then coming to shoot the show. The problem was he was like drinking though too.
Right.
So he was saying he was working too much, and others were saying like, you may be working too much, but you're also coming like super drunk to film this show. And then he would just smoke a bunch of weed to try to like offset that. And it wasn't working out for him. But the big thing that he did was he was on a bus, either a bus or a train, and he called in a bomb threat.
Why?
And he claims he thought a lady had something in her bag, but it wasn't. And everybody on the vehicle that he was on, I can't remember if it was a bus or a train, claims that he was like overly drunk and drinking on the train. And they're like, he was being super belligerent. Somebody kept telling him to leave him alone. And he said, I'll show you. And then got on the phone and called in a bomb threat. And then has been investigated ever since.
Oh, wow.
And it like ruined him because of that. That was like 2 years ago, or it was like 3 years ago. Like whenever the show ended, that it was because of that.
Huh.
And
because he was on a podcast right after that talking about how he quit that show because like his movie career was blowing up, basically. I mean, he's in Deadpool 1 and 2.
Right. He already filmed those though.
Oh,
and then
really?
he did that bomb threat thing, and then it all went downhill for him.
Well,
and he's kind of been blackballed since then.
I'm sure he'll make a return.
Let's see. What do I want to move on to next for news? There's a movie coming out relatively soon called Uncut Gems.
Okay.
Have you heard of this?
No.
You haven't?
No.
You need to watch the trailer. Watch the trailer for Uncut Gems. It's an Adam Sandler movie.
Okay.
But it's not like any Adam Sandler movie you've probably seen before. So he's literally like a diamond salesman kind of, or like a jewelry salesman, but he like buys and sells jewels. That's why it's called Uncut Gems. But Kevin Garnett's in it. Like
Kevin Garnett.
Yeah. And he's like a main character.
Does he play a Garnett?
No, he
stone?
plays himself.
Because that's a stone, right?
But I think it is a garnet. Yeah.
Garnet.
I think. Is that how you say it?
Yeah.
He's in it, but apparently he does a very good job. But
what if all the actors had gem names? Like Donnie what's the Donnie Emerald.
Donnie Emerald.
And Joanna Pearl.
Billy Diamond.
Yeah. Margot Ruby. Kind of.
Timmy Topaz.
Alan Aquamarine.
I like Alan Aquamarine.
Alan Aquamarine.
He's like one of my favorites.
Dude, he was legit in Aquaman.
Yeah, you want to see some acting.
Yeah.
Talk to Mr. Aquamarine.
Yeah, for sure.
That guy.
And Margot Ruby.
He'll act till he's blue in the face. Anyway, Uncut Gems came out, and like the first viewings have happened before it comes out into theaters.
I'm assuming it's a Netflix movie, right?
It is a Netflix movie, but apparently
because he's got to deal with Netflix, right?
Critics and fans alike are saying it's the best movie Adam Sandler's ever done in his life.
Nice.
And it's something like out of character for him. It's very serious, but he's like a thug. He's like this like thug guy. And when I first saw like pictures of it and little snips like of the movie, I was like, well, this looks absolutely ridiculous. Then I watched the trailer and I was like, maybe it's okay. Like even the trailer didn't really sell me on it, but everything I keep hearing sounds very, very good. So I'm pretty intrigued. Like that's what's got me intrigued. I'm normally not intrigued by what critics say, but as soon as they said like other fans that got what do they call that? Like a screening. Yeah. Like a before screening, they've all said best thing Adam Sandler's ever done.
Really? We should do a top 10 Adam Sandler movie.
So I would do that.
Because I'm a huge fan of Adam Sandler.
I've always been a huge fan of Adam Sandler. My brother used to always get the Adam Sandler CDs.
Oh, yeah. They're all going to laugh at you.
Yes.
They're all going to laugh at you.
And he used to play that. Even he's 8 years older than me, and he used to play that stuff like when I was in high school. And when I was getting ready for like homecoming and whatnot, he'd be like, they're all going to laugh at you. Like, all right, John, come on, man. But like all of that stuff I listened to.
The reality is they all did laugh at you.
And they did. And then I was their king. I was never a king, but I was a prince.
But, you know, the best Adam Sandler movie of all time, just spoilers for the top 10. It's definitely that one where he goes to Africa.
What?
The one where they're in Africa.
Which one's that?
It was meant to be a joke because it's not good, but never mind.
Which one?
Mixed, blended, something like that?
I don't think I ever saw it. Is it? Oh, that's the Drew Barrymore one?
No. Is it Drew Barrymore or is it Jennifer Aniston?
Oh, Jennifer Aniston. It's Jennifer Aniston. I never saw
it's Drew Barrymore. I think it's blended, and I think it's Drew Barrymore.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
She's been in a lot of movies with him.
She has 50 First Dates. That's a good one.
Yeah, The Wedding Singer.
Wedding Singer is a phenomenal movie. My favorite callback to The Wedding Singer was the Goldbergs.
Oh, yeah, that was great.
Goldbergs had a whole episode.
And they integrated it like in.
They had to pay a shitload of money to have that done. They had to have paid somebody to do that.
For sure.
To have it literally tied into The Wedding Singer on the same flight.
But the whole throughout the whole episode. That's like the best episode of that show of all time.
You know what I just found out too, or just figured out? I watched Nacho Libre again.
Nacho!
Yeah. So it's a ridiculous movie, but Grady's been so into wrestling lately.
I like that movie.
That I was like, you need to watch this. So he was watching Nacho Libre. He thought it was hilarious, was laughing constantly. But the kid who plays Nacho in the very beginning of the movie, the first like 15 minutes of the movie, is the one Goldberg kid with the froey head, the older brother.
Oh, yeah?
What's his name? Barry Goldberg.
Really?
That's him.
Huh,
yeah.
Interesting.
He was the little kid in Nacho Libre, and then he's the big kid in Goldberg's. I thought that was fun.
I've been watching the Goldbergs this season. It's just a good show. It's a
so
good shut off your brain show.
And it's funny.
It's funny.
It's like so funny.
It's emotionally good. And
yeah.
Like it's upbeat. It's a great show.
I love it. So next news. I've still got, let's see, 1, 2, 3, like a few things to talk about.
Okay.
This is a quick one though. I love Keanu Reeves.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, who doesn't really love Keanu Reeves?
They're making a new Bill and Ted movie.
They are.
Yeah.
But they're also making The Matrix 4.
Oh, yeah.
And they're making John Wick 4.
Oh, wow.
And did you know that The Matrix 4 and John Wick 4 are set to come out on the exact same day in 2021?
That's not going to happen, but awesome.
As of right now.
That's a long ways away.
I know. As of right now, they have both released their release date for May 21st, 2021.
I hope they call it Matrix Reloaded.
It would be reloaded.
Why?
Because it's the fourth one.
Well, but only one of them was called Matrix Reloaded.
I know, but you have to skip the other one and go
What an out of characteristic name for that franchise.
Reloaded?
Yeah. It's just very like action movie-y, and that franchise was like very
action movie-y?
I guess, but I felt like it was a little deeper than that.
Well, I guess it is. The storyline's deeper than that, but the movie itself is an action movie.
Sci-fi.
Yeah. But I mean, they started the whole like 360 camera thing where they're like lean back and the bullets go over them.
That's true.
Bullet time.
Bullet time. But did they start that, or did the video game Max Payne start that?
No, Matrix came out before Max Payne.
That's a great game, though. That was a great game.
It is. The movie's not so good.
I never saw it. Oh, yeah, I did see it. It's got Mark Wahlberg in it.
Mark Wahlberg, yeah. It's not that good.
I need to work on a Mark Wahlberg impression so I can do it in the future all the time.
Hey, say hello to your mother for me.
Better than that.
Hey there, Snake. Have you ever seen the Saturday Night Live?
No.
Where Andy Samberg does Mark Wahlberg?
No.
And he goes to a farm, like a petting zoo. And he's like, hey, goat, how you doing? Nice to see you. All right. Say hello to your mother for me. Like every single person he talks to, he's like, all right, say hello to your mother for me. And then he ends up talking to Mark Wahlberg. And I don't know. It's funny. So anytime anybody's ever talked about Mark Wahlberg or I think of him, I say,
Say hello.
All right, say hello, mother, for me.
I was watching some Saturday Night Live stuff the other day because Will Ferrell was on there. Did you see that episode?
So I didn't see the whole episode. I only saw the monologue.
The monologue is great though.
Yeah, the monologue
with Ryan Reynolds.
Yes, I didn't get it at first. I was like, "Why are they doing this?"
That's a big trailer we never talked about. Ryan Reynolds' new movie.
Free game,
free guy,
free man,
free guy,
free guy.
Yeah, free guy.
Okay,
where he's an NPC video game character.
Yeah, it's a Taika Waititi movie.
Love Taika Waititi. It looked fun.
Dumb.
I don't think it looked dumb. It just looked fine, fun action movie. I don't think it was going to blow anything.
No, it does not look intriguing to me, like at all. I was intrigued by, like, hearing about it, and then I watched the trailer.
You're like, meh.
Yeah, it doesn't pull me in.
I agree. All right, what else you got? Because I got some what we're watching, and we're going to do a movie review. Come on, do we even have time for that now?
Yeah, we've got plenty of time. Where are we at? We're at an hour and 6 minutes.
Okay.
So we've talked about the Batman movie a bunch, right? The new one, Matt Reeves' Batman with Robert Pattinson. There has been a couple like new actors apparently in this movie that I was not aware of. I just kind of stumbled upon it when I was reading about the new movie because production has started now and they are filming. But there are still people that are in talks of being in the movie. So they have started production, but I don't know if that means that they're filming scenes or if people are just like getting ready for it. I don't know what that means, but there are still multiple people in talks. Like Matthew McConaughey is still in talks to be like Two-Face. That's in talks. But another guy, Peter Sarsgaard.
Yep.
He's also in talks of being Harvey Dent.
Okay.
So
he'd be a good one.
He was like in the Salton Sea, Jarhead, Magnificent Seven.
Yeah.
Like he was in, if you look at his IMDb, he's in like 49 movies, something like that.
He's one of those guys, like you recognize him when you see him.
He was born, I just read tonight, he was born on Scott Air Force Base in Illinois. It's in Southern Illinois.
Really?
Yeah. But the one, so yeah, he was.
When does this movie come out?
2021.
Oh, is it that far off?
Yes. Yes, it is. It's not this coming up year. But yeah, he was in talks about Harvey Dent. So I don't know if I want a Matthew McConaughey as Harvey Dent. I don't.
How many villains do we need to have?
Well, so that's another thing. They're like
Sarsgaard would be a much better Harvey Dent.
I think so.
Matthew McConaughey. I don't need Matthew McConaughey to be in this.
I was excited about it.
I'm a big fan of him,
when I heard his name, I was excited about it. But once I saw this guy, as like in talks for it, I was.
Is this a real movie poster they have out for it, or is it
no?
fake?
It's fake. They haven't come out with anything. They came out with what caught my eye about this article is that they came out with the working title, like the filming title of the movie, which they're just calling Vengeance.
No, don't need that.
No, that's not like what it's going to be out as. Like when they film, it's called Vengeance.
Oh, okay.
So they're using that as like a, fake movie title. But a lot of people are saying that it could be, we've talked about it before, is it could be The Long Halloween, which has multiple different villains in that book. But they're also saying that it could be the storyline that is close to Arkham Asylum.
That would be cool.
They're saying that they're saying that some of this movie is going to have Batman in Arkham Asylum itself. So maybe that's why we see a lot of villains. They're not necessarily main characters. They might be something that you see in Arkham Asylum and not throughout the world or throughout the movie.
Right.
Another guy that is guaranteed to be in the film, has already signed on, that I didn't know about, is John Turturro. That's a big name. He's a very, very good actor.
Playing Carmine Falcone.
Yes. Did you know that already?
Yeah.
Or you're looking it up?
I'm looking at it right now.
Okay. Yeah, he's playing Carmine Falcone, and I thought that's a really good pull. Not the character itself is whatever. It's been in like Batman Begins, but I just really like John Turturro. He's a really good actor.
There are rumors too that Joe Manganiello could be making an appearance as Deathstroke.
Good,
because he was teased at the end of Batman vs Superman, one of those movies.
Or Justice League? No.
Yeah, Justice League.
Was it?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Justice League. So, I don't know. It's intriguing. It's not coming out for like 2 years, so we got some time, and we're going to speculate like a shitload more in the next 2 years, but I don't know. That's the only thing I have to hold on to right now in the way of Batman, so I'm going to continue to talk about it.
After the disappointment of Hush. Ugh.
Gosh, they could have done a lot better with that. What? And it's a animated movie.
I thought it was good if you've never read Hush. That's the thing. Like, it's a very good movie if you don't know the story and don't care or don't want that story.
Yeah, you're right. But then why even... It goes back to, like, why even read the book then?
Right.
Like, that's what it's all based off of, is this book. It's a comic book.
Especially that, because it's not so like particular to a comic book that's very particular.
Exactly. And it's not like we're asking you to go read a 700-page novel.
Right.
Like, it's a relatively small graphic novel that you could read in, an hour.
Yeah.
Like at the longest, right? Like hour and a half, maybe. I don't know. Take the time to read the book and then watch the movie if you want. But if you watch the movie, I would say you're doing yourself a disservice if you don't read the book, because
completely
it's
different.
Better. I don't know. That's all I got for news.
All right. I got some stuff I've been watching. Do you want to talk about that?
Yes, I do.
I mentioned these briefly in the last episode, but we were running long, so I didn't get a lot of time to talk about them.
Right.
The first one being His Dark Materials.
Oh, man, I still haven't started that.
On HBO. And I'm really enjoying it. It's not anything like I'm crazy about.
You started talking about Lin-Manuel Miranda about not being that great of an actor.
Well, let's be fair. To be fair, he just came in on the show. He's not in there from the beginning. He comes in about halfway through the season.
Okay.
The first 2 episodes, he just kind of plays it very cheesy, which is partially the character, but partially the acting.
I feel like he's like a clockmaker or a chimney sweep.
Similar. He's a guy that flies a balloon.
Oh, okay.
But it's in the same vein as the clockmaker and chimney sweep.
I feel like...
He's very steampunky.
Okay.
He's like a steampunk avionautic. What do they call him? An avionautica or something? I don't know.
Okay.
It's an interesting show for somebody that's never read any of the books, which are very popular.
Right. I haven't either.
It's definitely something that's very interesting, different, new. Obviously, if you've read the books, it's not new, but I did watch the movie, The Golden Compass, which this is.
I did
based on the
watch
same
that as
source material, but I feel like this is a lot better, and it's really good. Like, I'm enjoying it a lot. I'm definitely in the bag for it. I like what they're doing with it. There's a lot of twists and turns and interesting elements to it. So I would definitely highly recommend it as a show. Pretty much for anybody. I think it's pretty easily digestible. It's on HBO.
Yes.
The other big one I've been watching, which I've mentioned several times and I talked about a little bit, is what I think is the best show on TV right now, and that's Watchmen on HBO.
So I've been catching up with that.
Oh, you
Please
did?
Don't spoil anything. I catching up in the way of, like, I had to go back and watch episode 4 again because I fell asleep during it. So I just watched that, and then last night I watched episode 5.
Which one's 5?
It's the mirror. What's it?
Looking Glass.
Looking Glass.
Oh my God, you haven't got 6 and 7 are the best ones. So they're unbelievable.
Right. You keep saying that, and I keep trying to work towards it, but it's hard to do.
And then there's been 8, which I watched last night, and then that 9's the last one. There's 9.
Oh, okay.
The season finale.
And that's Sunday?
Is Sunday, this Sunday.
So I'm not that far behind.
So this last one, 8, is also unbelievably good.
Golly.
7, unbelievably good. First of all, episode 6, which I've talked about, and in previous episodes, I've got the numbering wrong. Because you're on 5, right?
I'm on 5, yeah.
Okay, number 6 is the one that I meant to say. That's the flashback episode that I think is one of the best episodes.
Right, because 5 is not a flashback.
It is.
Well, I mean, I guess to a point it is, but it's not like what you were talking about.
There is a whole bunch of flashback episodes going on in Watchmen.
Right.
5, 6, 9, 8. They're all flashback episodes. But 6 in particular, I think, not only will win awards, but I think it's one of the best episodes of a television show ever made.
Yeah.
It's super novel in how they do time travel or to do the flashback thing, which I've read some stuff actually that the mechanism by which they achieve that is actually borrowed from some other source material, which I wasn't aware of. Doesn't matter. Still feels fresh.
Yeah.
Very fresh. And then the episode itself is amazing. The acting, the nuance, the message.
The production of this, you can tell, isn't like an HBO,
oh yeah,
style show, because they've got all the money to do whatever they want to do. But the way it's put together is really, really good.
Yeah,
like it's just put together really well.
I hope people are watching it, because it's you got to get through the first 2 episodes.
Yeah, because the third one does change a little bit. The fourth one makes it a lot better.
The third one changes the game, first of all. It changes the entire show.
It does.
I don't know why exactly they started this the way it did, other than it gives you a little bit of backstory into these characters, but quickly. And the great thing about this show so far is that like you don't need a lot of exposition.
Well, and I think that we're trying to set up some sort of like big scandal right off the bat with the chief, of police and whatnot. Like,
well, that gets dealt with later.
I'm sure it does. I'm just saying, like, I think they were trying to set up as like this big, like, oh man,
like a gotcha moment.
Don Johnson's dead.
Yeah.
Spoilers.
In the first episode.
But I don't know. I didn't really take it as that. I was like, there's so much more to this than that guy. Mm-hmm. Right off the bat, you can feel like, I want to know what's happened. Like, why did these squid just fall all over?
Yeah.
That's what I want to find out about.
You know?
And
you did.
Yeah, absolutely. And I knew about it previously because, like, at the end of the Watchmen comic book.
Yeah, but you didn't know the details that they released in this movie.
No, show. I didn't. But it's not surprising to me that squid were involved with the Watchmen show.
Yeah.
Because of the end of the comic book. Anyway, I really like the actress that plays like the what's it called, Knight?
Sister Knight.
Is that what it is? Sister Knight?
Regina King?
Yeah, she's good.
Well, yeah, she's like in everything.
She's really good.
She's been around forever.
I loved the scene.
Yeah.
I think it was in episode 3 where she's talking. You know what I'm going to talk about? Like,
I mentioned this scene to you earlier. We talked about it on the show.
Did we?
Where she's with the FBI detective in the cave, like in the mausoleum.
Yes. And then
then she's I told you that, and you laughed at me.
Really?
Yeah, because she's like, ooh.
Yes, that's what she does. She's like,
yeah.
Like after this whole big spiel.
I made a whole big spiel about that when Alex was on. I'm like, it's unbelievable. Like that scene.
Oh yeah. Well, maybe I made fun of you just because that's what I do. But once I saw it, holy crap! It's so good.
Good. It's really good
because it's this whole big spiel of her going through all this stuff, and then there's like this slight pause. And then she's like, oh,
yeah.
Like, oh, you scare me. I don't know.
And she dumps the coffee out.
Yeah. The way incredible. She does that, like, holy shit. And then from there on out, like the tone of everything changes.
I've never seen anything like that done in a movie on screen. And it's really a little tiny thing, but I've never seen anything like that.
It doesn't change like.
It doesn't change anything.
It's just the way they acted it.
But it's just they take expectation and just flip it.
Yeah.
And they do that so much in this show, and that's what makes it great. So you got 6 coming up.
Yep.
Best, one of the best episodes of television in the history of television, I believe. 7 is
second best episode.
No, is also a really, really good episode, and then has a massive twist.
Okay.
And then 8 just it also just changes the game massively,
all leading up to the season finale.
Yeah, which is number 9. And what I love about this show is that also it just gives the viewer so much credit. It doesn't try and retread any territory. It doesn't sit there and say like, no, we're going to spoon feed you what the Watchmen's about, what these characters are about. Because spoilers, later on, a lot of the characters from the book are involved in
which is good
in the show.
I was hoping they would be because,
but they don't really. They do it in a novel way, right? They do it in a way that is like secondary.
Right. They talk about characters that have been involved as the Watchmen before, and like that woman, I can't remember her name. Is it Sandra something? Like the FBI agent?
Oh, well, she was Silk Spectre. I can't remember.
No.
That was her name. Yeah, Silk Spectre 2.
2.
Yeah,
her mom was Silk Spectre.
Yeah, she was
raped by the comedian to make her
Silk Spectre.
2. Right.
Yeah. From like if you watch the Zack Snyder movie, it's played by Malin Ackerman, right?
Ackerman, yeah.
Something like that.
She's Silk Spectre, though.
No, she's Silk Spectre 2.
She is?
Isn't she?
No.
Oh, okay.
I thought she was just Silk Spectre because the comedian was alive at that time.
Maybe. I don't know. Yeah.
Well, the comedian and Silk Spectre got together and ended up making her, but like as an illegitimate child, and she was raped.
I'm not crazy about her, to be honest, but whatever.
I'm not either. I'm really not either. I feel like she's way too off-putting when she knows, like, she knows the deal. She knows what like vigilantism is about.
She definitely plays Silk Spectre 2.
I know, that's what we said.
Malin Ackerman.
Oh, she does?
Yeah.
Oh.
I think that they bring that up.
Yeah, I think you're right. In the beginning of the beginning of the movie,
like dating Dr. Manhattan in that movie.
Yeah, you're right.
And they talk like she's got a problem with the comedian.
Yes. Yep.
And I think that's like a big part of it.
It's brought up because the beginning of the show,
Jupiter, but in this, I think she's like Lori Blake, maybe.
Blake, yes.
But in the other movie, she's Lori Jupiter.
I tell you what, that Malin Ackerman, she's something to look at.
Yeah.
Tall drink of water, that lady.
But yeah, so, and then when it's just so good, guys, you got to watch it. And randomly, like my sister and my brother-in-law I didn't even say anything about it. They just started watching it.
It's because they listen to the Snarf Talk podcast all the time.
They love it. They love that show. And they know nothing of the Watchmen.
So Amy got intrigued with it the other night when I was watching episode 4. She was watching it with me. She had happened to stay up. She doesn't stay up very late, which I don't blame her. She does a lot of work. She just can't stay up late, and I want her to. And by late, I mean like past the kids going to sleep.
Right.
But I want her to stay up and watch these shows because I know she'll like them. And she saw the first like 35 minutes of one of the episodes, and no, probably like 40 minutes. And she's like, what's that lady doing? Well, it was episode 4 because it was the weird lady, Tao.
Oh, yeah.
She was like taking the house from those people.
That's a good scene.
That's crazy. And she's like, I'm going to give you this child, and it's genetically yours.
So crazy.
She's like, if you don't take this offer in the next 30 seconds, we'll have to terminate the baby. And she's like, I'm just kidding. We won't. We'll give it to somebody else. But it's like the way she delivers
you totally
that stuff,
believe
like,
that
oh my gosh. Like, I feel like you are going to do that. But
there's nothing like this show. I've not seen anything like this show ever. That's what's so great about
watching this, and she's like, that lady's an alien. She's like, she has to be an alien. She's like, what's going on here? I was like, I don't know how to explain this to you other than you have to watch the very first show.
First of all, you don't even know what's going on.
Exactly. And that's what I told her. I said, I don't even know who this lady is. Like, this is the first time I'm seeing her. Like, I don't know what's going on. So she had so many questions, but she needs to go back and watch this because I know she'll like it.
Yeah.
A lot.
I think it's just refreshing to see something so different.
Yeah.
And I know that later on it gets a little more familiar, and it's obviously based on IP that a lot of people are familiar with, but it's something different than ever what's been on television before. There's really nothing I can think of that's like even in the same realm of it. Is Lost? It's made a lot like Lost.
Isn't this the guy who made Lost?
It's Damon Lindelof who made Lost.
Yeah.
And it is formulaically a lot like Lost because it's
only
like
because
a series.
It's the same creator. Like, I feel like if you and I were to
But the episodes are a lot of flashbacks that are on particular characters, just like Lost. That's what Lost was.
Yes. And at the end of this show, there's a smoke monster.
Yeah. The thing that's different about this and Lost is whenever they had those flashback character episodes, it was infuriating to me because I wanted the story to move forward.
Yeah,
but he's managed to do a better job of not having you feel that, A, and B, interweaving the past flashbacks into moving the story forward.
Right.
Which he also did in Lost too, but it's done better here. I think.
If you can believe it, I really didn't watch Lost.
Oh, I did. I definitely did. I loved Lost, but this is a better show than Lost by far.
Oh yeah, by far. I do love the fact, and you had brought it up a couple episodes ago about it was episode 3 where he put the title of the episode is "If you don't like this, write your own show."
Yeah,
something like that.
Yeah,
like if you don't like this,
write your own story. I think.
Yeah. I thought that was hilarious.
Oh yeah,
it's like a straight middle finger to anybody that would like criticize the show.
I'm sure, yeah, and it was highly criticized. The first couple episodes.
Oh yeah,
I mean, people hated it, and I don't know that.
It's funny though because it's like he absolutely predicted that.
It was done on. Yes, it was predicted. I believe it was predicted.
Isn't that crazy?
I believe,
to have the foresight to know.
I don't think
people
he
are going
did
to
it
hate
on
those
purpose.
two.
I think he's like, I gotta tell these stories to set up what I want to do later, and people are going to hate that I'm doing it. So I'm going to name the third episode this. And that's when it becomes the Watchmen.
I know it does. And it's really incredible that, like I said, he had the foresight to do that though. Like he knew.
I just hope that the audience gave it credit and didn't bail, because you look at the scores and they're still very low.
Are they really?
Scores. Yeah.
Oh, I'll have to look that up.
But I don't know how quickly those change.
Doesn't matter. IMDb has it as 7.6. Rotten Tomatoes has 97%.
Yeah, look at the audience score though.
Let me click on this if your internet works, and I will find it. But I mean, 97%.
It doesn't work. It's the audience score is like 35%.
Really?
Yeah.
On Rotten Tomatoes?
Mm-hmm. But it has been since the very beginning. And
48. Yeah, 48%.
Well, it's gone up then, big time. It was in the 30s. But
the average tomato meter is 97%.
It doesn't matter. This is going to take the Emmys, right? The Emmys by storm. This show, it's gonna win all the Emmys.
I hope so. It's a very good show.
That and the Gold.
Oh, and Ozymandias is amazing in it too. Even though you only see a few things of him, and geez, like the baby thing with pulling him out of the water.
Jeremy Irons
is a good freaking...
He's just doing his own thing on this show, just off on his own, acting.
It is, too. It really is. That's a good description of him, because that's what it is. Like, it's a completely side
I just
story.
mean the world in which he's inhabiting, not story-wise, just in his own brain. He is just in his own goddamn universe, that man. He's just like, I don't even know if he knows the story or knows what show he's going into. I think he's just showing up in a room and they're like, be as over the top Broadway as you can be. And he's just like...
They're like, hey, you're going to pull these babies out of this water and you're going to look at them and you're going to throw them back in the water and overact the shit out of that.
But like, in a good way.
Okay, yeah. He's like,
Crookshanks!
I can do that.
Crookshanks! Rub my thighs!
Yeah, he's good.
He trolls around in a bathrobe. Oh my God.
Oh, freaking Scar.
Amazing. But it gets even better. So yeah, check out that show. Another one I'll mention real quick, and then we can move on to our big movie review if we have time.
Yeah.
Is I watched the whole season and the season finale of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, the newest season.
Really?
Season 10 or so.
I started it.
I thought it was a phenomenal season. I really thought it was one of the best in a long time. I think they've been kind of on a lull for the last couple seasons.
No, it's not 10, isn't it? Like 13?
Maybe. Yeah, I don't know.
I think it's 13.
But I thought this one was one of the better seasons they've had in a long time. And I absolutely loved the season finale, which is great. I won't bring too much more up since you haven't seen it.
No, I haven't.
The whole season finale is done. The whole episode is done inside a laser tag arena. And they're like grappling. They're using like laser tag as a metaphor for their lives. It's great.
Okay.
And it's just very funny. It's just, as far as like straight up comedy,
it's
one of the best.
You can't beat it.
Without any real attachment or any storylines or anything like that.
One of the best.
It's just like I don't want to call it like a skit comedy, but it's just like
one of the. This is, I would say right now, this is the best episode of comedy that I've ever seen. Like a comedy show, sitcom. It's a sitcom, right? Situational comedy. Is that what it is? No. What is it then?
Well, it's definitely not a sitcom. That's usually a multicam show in front of a studio audience.
Okay, well, that's not
with a laugh track. It's a single cam comedy.
Okay, well, either way, it's a comedic show.
Yeah,
episodic show. The best episode I've seen is the Wade Boggs episode ever, like where they're on a flight. And they're doing, do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes, I know what you're
So they
talking
do the Wade Boggs challenge where they say that Wade Boggs, he was a infielder for the New York Yankees for many, many years. I think he played second base.
Just like me.
Yeah, he was a second baseman. Me too. For the Yankees?
Yeah.
Oh, I was Boston.
Oh.
Fuck you. Anyway, he apparently could drink endless amounts of beer. And he drank, I can't remember what it was. It was a flight from New York to
LA, right?
LA,
Vegas,
yeah. And he drank like 72 beers, something like that. And it's like documented. Like this actually happened. Wade Boggs says it happens. Multiple teammates have said this happened. And then he went and played a baseball game the same day. So they try to do the challenge, and they have they're wearing white shirts where they're marking down how many beers they drink on the flight, and they're all drinking on this flight, and it's one of the most hysterical shows I've ever seen in my entire life, because the entire episode happens on the coach section of the plane. It's like 3 seats.
Yeah.
And it's just them walking up and
that's
down the
how the
plane
season finale is. The whole thing happens in one room of the laser tag, in the base of the laser tag thing.
Yeah.
And it's a great episode.
Okay. I need to finish the season. I've seen...
There's a ton of other great episodes in that season. I honestly, I'm
pretty sure it's season 13, right?
One of the best seasons in a long time. Yeah, that's it. So me and you both watched a movie recently. And
we have.
We would be remiss if we didn't review said movie.
I agree. It's a children's movie.
Head into the unknown.
Into the unknown.
Frozen 2 is the movie we're talking about. A movie that I was super excited for. Very excited for, because the trailer looked amazing, I thought.
Man, I've heard you speak of this movie before. And right directly after you had seen it, like a day or two after you'd seen it. And we're on the opposite sides of the playing field here.
Well, I didn't tell you anything about it until after you saw it.
No, you haven't even told me anything about it since I saw it.
So how do you know what side of the field I'm on?
Because you directly said what side of the field you were on.
That's what I'm telling you, but not until after you saw it. I didn't tell you anything before you saw it.
No,
I thought of it.
I hadn't seen it at Drinksgiving.
Oh, okay. Well, anyway, I'm a fan of the first Frozen movie as far as I can be a fan of it. It's a good kids movie. The music's really good.
Yeah.
It's a good story, but it's nothing like I'm a huge fan of by any means.
Completely agree.
And I could care less about the second one coming out until I saw the trailers.
Yes.
And I saw the trailers, and I'm like, well, this is interesting. Mm-hmm. The direction they're going with this movie. And I got really excited, especially having a daughter. Because I'm like, this is going to give her the ability to have a movie that feels like it's an entryway into kind of the superhero comic book universe.
Yeah.
Not that girls can't do that through the traditional channels that they have available to them. No, I'm just saying this is like something that she really likes, and I'm like, they're going this direction with it, and I'm excited that that's happening. Mm-hmm. So we went to see it. We saw it in IMAX, actually, or GDX, I should say.
GDX, Yorkville.
No, it's in
Oswego. You got to go through Yorkville to get to Oswego.
NPX in Yorkville. They got another name for it. Extreme. They call it the Extreme Theater.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I'll just say right off the gate, I was pretty disappointed. I thought it was very hollow.
Who are you?
I feel like it didn't have the stakes of the first one. There's really no main villain. It doesn't really have any stakes. It doesn't really feel like a movie as much as it like feels like an episode of something. It just kind of fizzles. It's got some amazing visuals, and it's a very beautiful looking movie. And then on top of that, like the main thing about Frozen is the music, and it's got no really redeeming music, other than maybe one song, the one where she's in the cave and she's got to get out of the cave.
Yeah,
that's pretty good.
I feel completely on the other side of this.
Really?
Like 100% on the other side of this. I felt like the story was way more in depth and better than the first one. Like I felt like the first one compared to this is hollow.
Okay.
To where like you know that this girl, like in the first one, you know that Elsa has these powers that have been hidden, and then all of a sudden they come out and she leaves. Like that's it. That's the story.
Yeah.
And then you try to get her to come back. There's nothing else besides that.
It's funny though. It's a pretty funny movie.
The second movie was hilarious. Absolutely hilarious.
Yeah,
like I feel like
moments.
Olaf was funnier in this movie than he was the first one. Like when he literally depicted the whole first movie to the settler
really
people.
That's
like
hilarious.
that's
I was actually laughing out loud in the theater. Everybody was.
Yeah, and I thought the music was great. You hold back the fact that they do an 80s like hair ballad like montage with Sven.
I don't even remember what you're talking about.
He sings a song. He's singing a song in the woods, and
Sven, the reindeer.
No, what's the other guy's then?
Kristoff.
Yeah. Sven's in it too.
I thought that was odd. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, Kristoff singing a song, and it's like a montage, like an 80s ballad.
Is that what they were going for?
Absolutely, Christopher. Okay. Oh my gosh, you don't even get the movie.
I guess.
You don't get it. It's above you, apparently. But he sings this song. The reindeer is a backup singer during this song. They do the whole like him leaning up against a tree with a big head, like fading in, like next to him. You know.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
I guess I didn't get that's what they were going for, and I thought it was very odd.
I thought it was awesome. I loved it. I was like smiling and leaning forward in my seat. Amy was like hitting me like, "Are you this into this?" And I was. I thought the Into the Unknown song was phenomenal.
Yeah, well, I didn't think much of it at the time. I've heard it since now on the radio and stuff, and I like it more now. And that's how I felt about the other songs in the first one too. Like they didn't grab me at first, and then the more you kind of see them.
But the story itself, I feel like wrapped all of the movies together into one. They talk about their mom and dad, how involved they were into how their creation
I was 100%
happened.
sure that they were going to bring them back like as they were still alive. I'm glad they didn't go there.
I'm completely glad they didn't go there because I thought that too when they found their ship. Like the ship, I thought, oh, well, no, they're going to bring mom and dad back. Anyway, I like the fact that Elsa has to do that on her own, you know, to begin with. Like, I have to do this because like it's literally about me to begin with. Like the whole movie is about me. She doesn't say that, but like I'm the one who's hearing this voice. I need to go find it. I need to do this stuff. And she kind of pushes her sister off to the side because her sister's like super overbearing and I need to be there to save you, right? Like that's not the case. I can do this on my own. And then they tie it all together in the end where she does come to save her, but yet they both save each other. Like unknowingly, they both save each other.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think the story wraps everything together about why they are the way they are better than the first one ever did, because the first one just opens it up and says like, well, you have these powers.
Yeah.
Like that's all you've got.
I guess it does give a kind of a origin story per se, and that's cool, I guess. But
it's an origin, but not going back in time.
Here's a review that characterizes how I felt about it. The storyline felt overly forced and clunky. It really did, and
I don't agree.
The songs were fairly bland and forgettable.
I don't think so.
There is a really good scene where she's...
I guess I haven't been singing them since I've seen the movie.
I couldn't even remember one.
But I didn't... Except for the one
that
you
one.
Remembered and sang?
Yeah, because I heard it today, literally.
Yeah, but...
This guy was listening to it on the Google Home.
But you did remember one.
The one scene where she's in the cave well, let's just say spoilers.
Elsa or Anna?
Anna.
Yeah.
And there's some disappearing happening. That's a good scene.
Oh, yeah.
I don't want to spoil too much.
Okay.
Because people are like really into this movie, so I don't want to spoil it for them. But I don't know. I'll watch it again for sure. I thought there were certain aspects of it that I liked more than the first movie. I wasn't a huge fan of the first movie by any means. I think it's fine.
Right.
And, it's one that I can watch and not be super annoyed by. But this one is definitely, I will say, like, really gorgeous animation.
Oh, it's so beautiful.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, like, Rotten Tomatoes has it as a 92% audience score.
Yeah. What's the critic score?
77.
Yeah. Not that great.
Do you go by critic score mostly?
Yeah, usually.
No, you don't.
We've had... No, I usually go more by the critics. It just depends.
We've had episodes of Snarf Talk where we've all said like critic scores are dog shit.
No, I don't think that. I don't personally think that, but that's just me.
I think they are.
What do you think the first one got?
I don't know. For critics or audience?
Critics. I will say the first one, story-wise, probably isn't as strong as this one. However, the music is standout in the first one. Unbelievable music in the first Frozen movie.
There was like 2 songs I feel like in the first Frozen movie that were good. Like stand out good.
Do you want to build a snowman?
1.
Let It Go.
2.
The one and then I ran into you. She sings it with the I spent my whole life of black.
The Open Doors.
Maybe it's like the party talking or the chocolate fondue, but with you.
Yeah, it's the one there.
It's the one she sings with the bad guy.
Yeah, and they're something about open doors, and they're running around in the castle.
What about the one with the trolls? That's a good one.
Trolls one. What is that?
90% on the first Frozen movie critic score.
90% for critic score on the first movie.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, I don't know. I like it a lot. I like the story about how, there's a lot of story there between the people, like 2 different people fighting each other over.
It did feel like more like a fantasy storyline, like a classic fantasy story. Whereas the first one doesn't feel like that. Really.
Right. So no, I felt like the first one's very hollow because all they talk about is this one girl's power. She ends up showing it and then runs away. Yeah. That's it.
Yeah. It is a quick movie, the first one.
It is very, very fast. So that's the basis of the story, and then trying to get her back because she's technically the queen. This movie ties in like her power, somebody calling to her, but that person like calling to her is directly involved with like the fog or whatever it is, like the shadow, the circle of magic that are holding these people in the forest that they have to come and basically rescue.
It's kind of a cool concept.
And they don't even know that they need to be rescued.
I don't know. Maybe you're convincing me more because as you talk.
The people that are in that little cloud don't even know that they're in the cloud. They think that they're still fighting for something they need to be fighting for, even though like the people that they've been trying to save are dead. Right. Like they're just still doing the same thing over and over again because they're trapped inside this cloud of like evil or magic or whatever, and then Elsa's the only one to come and save her, when in reality her sister's going to save her.
Yeah.
You know, Elsa has to go and do it on her own, which she's right. But at the end of the day, Anna ends up saving her. Right. But then Elsa comes back and saves where they need to live.
Yeah.
You know, like spoilers. I thought it was all tied in together really well. Yes. Complete spoilers. But I love it. I think I do think the music is good. It may not be quite as catchy or like poppy.
It's definitely not as catchy or poppy as the first.
One. Yeah, I agree.
And maybe
with that.
I've seen probably the first one a lot more than you. I can guarantee that.
Yeah, probably. And Graham's been watching it a lot since we had Disney Plus. He loves it. That's why we went and saw Frozen 2, because we're like Graham's gonna love this. Like, we got to go see it. That's the only reason why we.
But I've seen it like at Disney World at the live show like 5 times.
Yeah.
Which it's only like, it's a very quick. It's only like a 15 or 30 minute thing at Disney World, but
here's a review that I agree with. It says Frozen 2 is more mature, ambitious, and intricate than its predecessor.
I would agree with that. I definitely would agree with that. It's definitely aimed at an older audience than the first one.
Yeah.
The first one is aimed at a very young audience.
Yes.
That's why it's hard for an adult to really watch it and connect with anything other than the great music. Or catchy music. I shouldn't even say great music, but
yeah, I mean, Let It Go.
It's a good song.
Literally changed the nation for a time.
Yeah,
like that was something that everyone.
It's still sung in our house a lot.
Yeah, talked about.
If you go to the Frozen show, which is at Hollywood Studios, it's a kind of a stage show, but they show movie clips. When they do the Let It Go song.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. And then it starts snowing in the whole theater. It's pretty cool.
Awesome.
But I've seen it so many times now that it's
You're just
unbearable to sit through it.
I don't really care about it at all.
So anyway, no, I'll give it another shot.
So that's a 50-50 Snarf Talk review. Like, I'm on one side and Chris is on the other, which isn't really too surprising. We are usually opposites of each other on most things.
Well, I know, yeah.
And a lot of like actual reviews of the main movies that have came out this year, we've been opposite.
Really? Like what else?
Joker.
Yeah. Okay. That's it.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right.
Joker and Frozen 2. Very similar movies, really.
Very similar. When you really break it down
to the actual nuts and bolts.
I mean, just struggling humans that don't know how to control themselves.
Well, they both have people.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And they're both set in a setting.
And they have to overcome a thing.
Yeah, there's an obstacle.
Where, it's very political in both sense of the word.
Yeah.
And they're all women.
Yeah.
Clowns. That's it. We're done.
All right. Well, anyway, I guess it's worth a watch.
I would absolutely say it's worth a watch.
The funniest thing the funniest thing I saw in regards to that movie was a tweet that somebody put out that said, will I understand Frozen 2 if I've only seen Frozen 1 535,000 times in the last week?
That's pretty good, because that is the way it is. I mean, Graham has watched it a lot lately. He asks for it all the time.
I will say that movie has been the go-to by my kids for the last
3 years.
3 years
since it came out.
Like every day.
Yeah,
they watch that movie every day.
Unbelievable.
And not as much anymore, and now it's like Jet wants to watch it.
Right. Absolutely, because he's seen the other ones watch it and he thinks he needs
Cash never showed any interest in Frozen much. But Sky was really into it. But he would watch it for sure. He would like it. He would watch it. But he was never really that into it. But Sky would watch it, and now Jet's really into it. He just walks around the house saying Elsa and Anna.
Yeah. That's how Graham is. He's the only one that watches it, though. The other two don't care. So real quick, to wrap up the show, we're at hour 49. Did you have more?
No.
Okay.
That's all I got.
Just to wrap it up, there was a Joe Rogan podcast about a guy. if you haven't listened to it, you need to.
I listened to it, and I would love to talk about it.
Glenn Villanueva.
Yes, I'm listening to it currently, actually.
Oh, really?
But I'm most of the way through it.
I finished it the other day, basically in one day, because I listen to podcasts like at work if I'm doing like computer work.
Yeah.
I put the YouTube on in the background, and I'm just doing my thing and listen to the podcast. And then if they say something that's like visual, I'll flip it over on my computer screen and see what they're talking about. But I listen to them like during the day. And so this guy was on a show that Discovery put out called Life Below Zero.
Yeah.
And
which I never saw. I never even heard of, to be honest.
I had heard of it and I never watched it. It was right at the time where I was losing dish, like a satellite dish. And then I went in the dark, like with regular
into the
TV.
unknown.
Yeah, into the unknown of TV. And I didn't get to watch any of that show. Well, he was on it, and the only reason he was on it is because he lived a certain way in Alaska, and it was a way he chose to live, which was completely off the grid, like just basically
like
100% on his own.
Like he parked his van and hiked 60 miles into the wilderness and just lived there. Now, he kind of pre-set up a little camp there over the years.
So a little backstory on this guy, though. He didn't finish school.
Didn't finish 8th grade.
Right. And he didn't get his GED or anything like that. He's like, why would I ever need that?
Doesn't care.
He
doesn't seem unintelligent.
So here's a comment.
But he doesn't seem like super smart either.
But here's a comment on the YouTube video that I wanted to bring up, because I say like or all the time when we talk. And it said, this guy says he's uneducated, below an 8th grade level, and in a 3.5 hour podcast, he never says like or one time.
He's a very good speaker.
Unbelievable.
Good storyteller. He comes across as sharp. I mean,
yeah, he does.
Sharp guy, but he's, I'm just saying, like, I don't think he comes off as like a savant or anything.
No, but reading that comment, it's probably because I read the comment that it stuck out to me, right? Yeah. So I read that comment and then it stuck in my head the whole time, and he really doesn't.
No, he doesn't.
He never says, well, like this.
I don't think we do that much either, though. So
I do. I feel like I do a lot.
I've never noticed it.
But he is so direct in the way he speaks and so confident in what he talks about, because he should be.
He does have an air of a real air of confidence about him that
about what
at times
he's doing.
Almost comes off as like arrogant,
almost arrogant, but yet
not. And then he always.
But how could you challenge it?
And it's just about the time when you're like, man, this guy seems like an arrogant prick. He backs back away from that, and you kind of lose that. So it's interesting.
Yeah, he'll back away from it and say, well, that was my experience.
Yeah.
Like in that situation, this is how I reacted. He's like, but that may not happen to anybody else. And then he'll give you like a backstory as to like why it happened to him. And the only way this is happening to him is because of the area he is in.
It makes no sense why anybody would want to live like this. But this guy literally 60 miles completely on his own. In the far, far, far north of Alaska. Like he's saying from September to May.
Yeah, he said beginning of May. It's basically frozen.
I mean, it's crazy cold. So like no he said power.
8 months solid of winter and 4 months of spring, basically. So there's really no summer.
No.
Said it's like 4 months of spring, because the hottest it'll get is like 65, 70.
And he was a bush pilot. He taught himself to fly. He went up there to be a bush pilot. And so that's why he flew in like some supplies to this like camp that he had. Some plywood basically is it.
And that's how he scouted the areas, flying a plane in to find the area. But then he drove a van out and walked from the van to where he was going.
So basically like
to live.
In the summer he fishes. And in the most of the year, like as soon as September rolls around, it starts to get cold. As soon as you can freeze meat outside without it getting eaten by larvae and bugs, he goes out and shoots a moose or an elk or a caribou.
Caribou and moose.
Elk. Caribou and moose. One of those. He shoots those, and that's what he lives off of the rest of the winter. Just eating everything from the antlers to the bones to the brains to the...
Here's what threw me for a loop. He talked about so many different things about eating stuff that blew me away. He said he started talking about caribou antlers.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, yeah, you can eat their antlers. He's like, when they're really young, he's like, and they're just like a spike where, you know, a little bit of antlers growing,
in the spring
and they
when
still
they're
have
velvet.
Yeah, and they're still in velvet. He's like, you can cut those off, tear the velvet off. He's like, and then the bone inside's like a pickle.
Yeah.
It's like, it's soft. You can eat it. It's like a pickle. It's like, it's great. He's very in love with caribou. Yeah. Loves everything about them. Thinks that's the greatest meat of all time. But then he started talking about pickling meat inside of a caribou stomach.
Oh, I haven't got to that part yet then.
Holy smokes.
Yeah.
Because Joe asks him about like vegetables or if he eats any sort of greens or anything like that. And he said there's berries and lichen around. Lichen's like a little...
It's like a mushroom type of moss, right? It's like moss, right?
Yeah, but he said it's very abrasive. So you can't, like humans can't just eat that off the ground.
Right. So it'd be like eating grass.
You can't do it.
Can't digest it.
So he said once a caribou eats it and it goes into their stomach, the first stomach, then you can eat it. Because a caribou is like a ruminant animal. So it's like a cow. They have 4 stomachs.
I did not know that. Is it deer?
It is a type of deer.
But are deer, are they ruminants?
I guess I don't know.
I don't know either.
But it is a type of deer.
Yeah. So are moose.
So, yeah, they are. But anyway, he said it goes in the first stomach. He's like, and once it's in that first stomach, it gets broke down. It gets a lot softer, and you can eat it. So he said he's eaten so many stomach contents of caribou to get some sort of vegetation into him, which is unbelievable to me.
Yeah.
He's talking about eating stomach contents. And then he said, and he doesn't like make any gestures of like, this is strange.
No.
Or, you know, Joe shows like shock, like, oh my gosh, you're eating stomach contents. And he's just like, well, yeah, of course. Like I had to do that in order to get some diversity in my food.
It's so weird though. Like his wife was out there with him. They had a baby.
Kids.
They had kids. He had kids out there. And like he mentions one point, they were basically starving. They had very little food. And he's like, there was never a day went by we didn't have something to eat, but it was never enough. And one time they had nothing to eat. Basically, he couldn't find any caribou. And they had their infant newborn baby out there. And he's like, what about the baby? And he's like, whoa, the baby's nursing.
Fine. Yeah.
He's like, well, what about your wife?
He's like,
ex-wife.
She ate some. She ate some things.
It's crazy.
That
they
is
just basically
weird to
lived
think
off of meat.
All the time. And then so he starts talking about pickling meat in a caribou stomach. And he said you can,
because he didn't have like vinegar. I mean, he said they brought some food supplies.
So he said he'd cut a slit open in the stomach and he'd take back straps or any type of meat and he'd stuff it into the stomach and close it back up. He said it had to be a certain temperature. If it was too cold, it wouldn't work. If it was too hot, it would rot. He's like, but if it was a certain temperature, he was like right around like 40, 45 degrees, and you left it in there for like a week, it would pickle the meat. And he's like, you had to leave it to where it would go through the whole meat. So on the outside, it will start turning brown. He's like, you want it to turn brown all the way through. He said, not gray, but brown. And then he said he'd pull it out and he'd just slice little bits off. He's like, oh, so good. Like, how do you... And the way he figured it is because he talked to a lot of local people that lived in the area. And there are other people that have done this their entire lives.
Yeah.
Which is just insane to me to think like in our day and age, people have lived that way. Like not just saying like, oh, my great-great-grandpa told me stories or told my grandpa stories of this or, you know, like hearing it down the line of your family. No, it's like saying there are elders in this village that have lived this way.
Yeah.
He's choosing to, but other people were forced to.
What I can't figure out is why. Why does he want to live like this? And it's not clear because he doesn't seem like... He doesn't come across as like crazy or a loner.
I think it's just like such a love for the outdoors, to be honest. Yeah, because he said when he was 12 years old, 13 years old, he walked to Canada from Connecticut.
Yeah. I don't know, man. It's a crazy story. It's definitely worth listening to.
At one point later on in the episode, I just wanted to touch on real quick, is that, it just blew me. This was another thing that just blew me away about this certain podcast, because he says, and it's just so nonchalant, he's talking about moose colon. And all of a sudden he's like, oh, Joe. And he like gets all postured and he's like, let me tell you. He's like, if you ever want to eat moose colon, this is how you eat moose colon. Like, this is a normal topic of discussion. And he starts telling you, he's like, you cut it out. Once you cut it out, he's like, turn it inside out, wash it real good. He's like, once you get it turned inside out and washed, he's like, you can slice it thin in rings and fry it. He's like, it's like frying calamari or like an onion ring.
Sure it is. It's cartilage.
He's like, you fight it, you fry it in fat. It's so good. And Joe just keeps saying like, what is that? What could that be like? He's like, I don't like fat. He's like, but what does it taste like? And he keeps saying, like fat. He's like, Joe wants more. Like, Joe wanted more explanation than that.
Right.
But the guy's just like, no, that's all it is.
Right.
Because he has nothing else besides that. And I don't know. It was just, I think it was really hard for Joe to figure out that it was so basic, like so incredibly basic, that there was nothing more than just saying like, no, it felt like just eating fried fat.
Yeah.
And that was it.
He has some great stories too about
Wolves.
Yeah. So like living with wolves and competing with wolves, and he'd follow, this one time he followed a wolf after a kill and actually stole the caribou from him.
Twice, he said.
Twice.
Yeah.
Crazy. And he was talking about how there's like no such thing really as wolf attacks. There's only ever been like 2 in modern history.
Yeah.
It's just really rare. And I thought it was interesting because he brought up a point, Joe says, well, how is that possible? How do they know to fear humans up there where they don't encounter humans? He's
exactly.
Like, he says, I think it's built into their DNA. And I think I personally, I've listened to the theories of like DNA memory.
Memory, yes.
And I think there's a lot of evidence for it.
They're doing it. No,
Yeah.
they're literally storing information in DNA.
Right.
Like in
all animals.
No, I mean like scientists are storing information in DNA and can retrieve that information back from it.
Yeah.
Like they've been doing studies on it and have achieved that.
Yeah.
Which blows my mind.
Yeah.
That you can do that.
Man, I think it's so crazy. And he even brings it up. He's like, listen, like there's people that do this did this without rifles.
Yeah.
There's people that did this without, I'm sure by the standards of us, what he's doing is complete insanity. But he still probably has lighters and flour that he brought from the store,
Even having like a standard like flint that you could buy off Amazon.
I'm sure he has
wherever.
gear. He's got sub-zero, 40 below zero sleeping bags.
And he did have things flown into him.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
Not very much.
No.
I mean,
he wasn't living out there for like 10 years straight. Like he would be, there was one time, I think the longest he was out there was like
17 months, I think is what he said. 17 or 18
just
months.
over a year, maybe a year and a half. But most of the time he'd go there for like 3 or 4 months and then go back and work a little, do stuff like that.
Tell anybody in our area or anybody that you know to even live in their backyard for that long without anything. You know what I mean? Like
to even live in your house for that long without anything.
Yeah. It's just not possible. Like I could go in the back of my house in the pasture and like on the other side of the trees, there's deer live there all over the place. They're running around all over. Like if I had to just hunt for my sustainment, I would die.
No, not with a rifle. You'd be flush with deer with a rifle.
Maybe, but I don't think I could do it for 17 months.
But do it without refrigeration.
That's what I mean. Like, I don't think I could do it for 17 months and like sustain myself 100%, like out of the elements. Like he immediately built a cabin. He immediately got out of the elements. He immediately had food. He like did these things as as what society would call a very uneducated man.
Yeah.
Even though he's self-educating and he talks about always wanting to learn more. He's like, I love learning. I love teaching myself things and reading stuff. And he did all the time. He just didn't do the, like what would it be called? Like the normalized education.
Yeah, which is fine. I don't think there's a lot of fluff in normal education that's just not necessary or vital for survival.
He learned how to fly a plane. I can't fly a plane.
Yeah. I'm going to start taking pilot lessons this year, by the way.
Good idea.
If you want to join in.
I do.
Let's do it.
I want to fly planes.
One of our mutual friends just finished. He just soloed, and it makes me really jealous. I want to do it.
I know. Me too, because I've witnessed all of his flying on Snapchat, and I'm the perfect size for any of these planes. Like, perfect.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to start this winter if you want to start it with me.
Okay. Because that's going to go over real well with my wife. I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm not going to bring up any stories, but there's some stories.
Well, anyway, I thought it was great. It was a great example of the perfect podcast medium because you could go watch that show, and I'm sure the show is interesting. I haven't seen it, but I'm sure it's great. But there's something that you can get from this 3-hour discussion that is profoundly entertaining.
Yes.
And it's the only way that you can do that. It's the only medium, unless you're reading a book, a novel.
Yeah, it felt like it to me.
It did. It felt like that, but this is better because
it felt like reading The Hatchet.
More interactive, and
Gary Paulson.
There's somebody that can, on the fly, adjust by asking questions, which is Joe Rogan does, and he's very good at it. Probably better than anybody right now at asking informed, interesting questions.
I agree with you, but I felt like this episode, he was behind the ball.
Yeah.
On a lot of it. Because and you'll hear it like the later on in the episodes as you get, but he starts asking questions that are just ridiculous. Like, the Glenn guy starts talking about caribou a lot, like at the end, and about echo hunting. He called it echo hunting. So out on the lake, you can like yell at certain corners of the lake and it'll bounce back and make the caribou run towards you because they're hearing the sound in front of them, even though you're behind them. So he demonstrates that like in a video, and they talk about it, and he's literally within 20 feet of the caribou, and the whole herd is running by him because he's doing this type of hunting. And his wife at the time was videotaping it and thought, like, you're going to be trampled. Like, you're going to be trampled by these caribou because he was getting so close. He never killed one because he was just demonstrating it, but that's how he would hunt them out on this lake. And Joe kept saying, he keeps talking about herd of caribou. Like, so there was this 800, he's like, I think there was about 800 head of caribou out on this lake. He's like, a herd of them. Kept saying a herd. And Joe says, what are they? He's like, what do you call them? A pack? Is it a pack? And he said, no, a herd. After he had said that word like 30 times. And then Joe asks if it's called a pack. Like, you hunt all the time. Why are you asking if it's a pack of caribou? I thought that was ridiculous. There was a few times where I was like, Joe, come on, man.
Yeah.
Like, just let the guy talk.
Well, whatever. But I don't even he's so engaging to listen to. I don't even really, I can't even point out one thing that Joe said because this guy talks 90% of it.
Right.
But it was interesting.
The only one that really stuck out to me. I was like, what are you asking him?
I do think like it's interesting to me that there's like hunting is this big thing, but like the reality is like the rifle is like a perfect weapon.
Yes.
But yet we all find these other ways to hunt because I guess they're more sporting or they're more challenging, and they are. But if you're surviving,
that's the thing,
you're not going to do that with the bow and arrow.
And he says that.
Yeah, he does say that.
He says that to Joe because Joe talks about like, why didn't you bring a bow? He's like, I'm not going to survive with a bow. He's like, I'm going to bring a rifle because it's what I can guarantee a kill with.
I wonder what rifle he uses.
It was a Ruger something. He talks about it.
Well, what caliber?
30-06.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That's what you'd want.
Yeah, absolutely. Or a 308. You could
308,
do a
either
308 or 30. He had a 30-06.
336.
He said it was the very first rifle he ever bought, and it's the only one he's ever used to kill a large game animal with. He said he's had another rifle before, but the only one he's ever killed a large game animal with to survive off of has been with that one rifle.
I don't think a 308's got the stopping power for a large animal that a 30-06 does.
Yeah, it can shoot the same amount of distance. It just doesn't have like as flat of a pattern, and there's a lot to it. But yeah, I agree with you.
We'll talk about guns in a future episode because I was just talking about with one of our listeners, and I have a little bit of a wish list. My collection's complete except for about 2.
Really?
Yeah.
We'll talk about it off air and bring it up again.
Okay.
We've reached our time, Christopher. So I would say go back. If any of you listen to Joe Rogan, if you don't listen to Joe Rogan, you should.
If you don't listen, this is a good introduction.
It is. The guy is. It really is like listening to a book because this guy talks about his life and how he ended up being on a reality TV show that he didn't even know what that was. He didn't know what reality TV was at the time. A guy told him like, "Hey, email this guy because they might want to talk to you." He did that, and when he emailed him, he said, "I only have a satellite phone that I check very periodically, and leave me a message." And it was like 8 months later, he ended up getting a message, and then Discovery Channel is there filming him.
Yeah.
And that's it.
It's crazy.
So it's really interesting. Check it out.
All right, for Snarf Talk this week, I've been Chris.
And I'm Jerry.
See ya.